You ever had that moment when someone looked straight into your eyes, spoke with complete confidence, and later you realized it was all a lie? That feeling hits differently. Not just anger, not just disappointment, but a strange question in your mind. How did I not see it? Because the truth is, most lies don't sound like lies. They sound convincing. They sound confident. Sometimes they even sound kind. And that's exactly why people fall for them. Every day, people lose trust, lose opportunities, and sometimes even lose years of their life, simply because they couldn't recognize deception early. But here's the exciting part. Most lies leave clues. Tiny cracks in behavior, small shifts in words, subtle signals in body language, signals that most people ignore. But once you learn to notice them, you start seeing people differently, not with suspicion, but with awareness. And awareness is powerful, because it protects your trust, it protects your decisions, and most importantly, it protects your time. So in this video, we're going to talk about something everyone should know: how to spot a liar. The small signals most people miss, the psychological patterns behind deception, and how learning this one skill can save you from manipulation. So take a moment, clear your mind, because the first sign of deception is something you've probably seen many times, but never truly noticed. The first sign of a liar is inconsistency. Because the truth is simple. It stays the same. A real memory doesn't need editing. When someone tells the truth, their story remains stable. The details match. The timeline makes sense. But when someone is lying, their brain has to create a story. And creating a story requires effort. So small cracks start appearing. At first, it might look harmless. Maybe a detail changes slightly. Maybe the timing suddenly shifts. Maybe they forget what they said earlier. And if you listen carefully, the pieces slowly stop fitting together. For example, someone tells you they were studying at home last night, but later in the conversation, they casually mention being outside with friends. That small contradiction is often where the truth hides, because lies require constant maintenance. A person must remember what they said, how they said it, and make sure every detail matches. And the more someone talks, the harder that becomes. This is why calm observers detect lies faster. They don't interrupt immediately. They don't accuse instantly. They simply listen. Because the longer a lie continues, the more likely it is to collapse under its own weight. So remember this idea. Truth stays consistent, but lies slowly contradict themselves. And once you start noticing these contradictions, you begin seeing conversations very differently. Now let's move to the second signal, because this one is something liars do without even realizing it. The second sign of a liar is over-explaining. When people tell the truth, their answers are usually simple, short, direct, natural, because they are just recalling a memory. But when someone is lying, something interesting happens. They start adding too many details, details you never asked for, details that don't really matter. Long explanations, long stories, long justifications. Why does this happen? Because the brain is trying to sound convincing. When someone lies, they feel pressure to make the story believable. So they start filling the silence with information. For example, you ask a simple question. Why were you late? A truthful answer might sound like this. Traffic was bad today. Clear, simple. But a liar might respond like this. Well, actually, I left my house at exactly 7:45. Then my phone battery died. And then there was this huge traffic jam near the market, and my friend also called me at that time. Suddenly, the explanation becomes long. Not because the truth is complex, but because the brain is trying to build credibility. And the irony is, the more someone over-explains, the more suspicious it becomes. Because real confidence doesn't need decoration. Truth is usually calm. Truth is usually simple. But lies often try too hard. So when someone gives a 5-minute explanation for a question that required 5 seconds, pause for a moment. Listen carefully. Because sometimes the extra details are not proof of honesty. They are signs of construction. Now, the third signal is even more subtle, and most people miss it completely. The third sign of a liar is delayed reactions. Because when someone tells the truth, their brain is recalling a memory. The answer already exists. They just remember it and say it. But when someone is lying, their brain has to create the answer. And creation takes time. So you may notice something small, a pause before they respond, a moment of hesitation, a slight delay while they think. Sometimes their eyes move away for a second. Sometimes they repeat the question back to you. Wait, what do you mean? Not because they didn't hear it, but because they are buying time. Time to construct a believable answer. And this delay is usually very small, maybe 1 second, maybe 2 seconds. But if you pay attention, the timing feels slightly unnatural. Because truth moves faster than invention. When someone remembers a real event, their response flows naturally. But when someone is inventing a story, their brain must calculate first. What sounds believable? What fits the situation? What will avoid suspicion? And that small mental calculation creates hesitation. Now remember something important. A pause alone does not prove someone is lying. Sometimes people simply think carefully. But when hesitation appears together with other signals, it becomes meaningful. Because deception rarely hides perfectly. It leaks through small behaviors. And once you start noticing these moments, you begin seeing conversations very differently. Now, the fourth signal is something even deeper, because this one reveals itself through emotions. The fourth sign of a liar is emotional mismatch. This happens when someone's words and emotions don't match. They say one thing, but their behavior shows something else. Because when people lie, their brain is under pressure. Pressure to maintain the story. Pressure to sound believable. And that pressure leaks through their emotions. For example, someone says they are calm, but their voice sounds tense. They say they are telling the truth, but their body looks defensive, arms crossed tightly, eye contact suddenly breaking, a forced smile that disappears quickly. These signals may look small, but they reveal something deeper, because the human body is hard to control perfectly. Words can be rehearsed, but emotions are harder to hide. That's why investigators and psychologists often observe behavior more than words. because behavior reveals what the mind is trying to hide. Now remember something important here. This does not mean every nervous person is lying. Some people are naturally anxious. But when emotional mismatch appears along with other signals, it becomes meaningful. When the story sounds confident, but the body looks uncomfortable, your awareness should activate. But here's the most important thing to remember after everything we discussed. Spotting a liar is not about becoming suspicious of everyone. It's about becoming aware, because awareness protects you. It protects your trust. It protects your decisions, and most importantly, it protects your time and energy. In this video, we talked about 4 powerful signals. First, inconsistency in their story, when details slowly stop matching. Second, over-explaining, when someone adds too many details just to sound convincing. Third, delayed reactions, those small pauses while the brain tries to create an answer. Fourth, emotional mismatch, when words sound confident, but behavior tells a different story. And these signals together reveal something important, because lies are rarely perfect. They leak through small cracks in behavior. And once you start noticing these cracks, your awareness becomes sharper. You listen more carefully. You observe more calmly. And slowly, you stop being easily manipulated. Because the strongest mind is not the one that reacts quickly. It's the one that observes carefully. So the next time you're in a conversation, don't just listen to the words. Watch the patterns. Notice the reactions. Because sometimes the truth is not hidden in what people say. It's hidden in how they say it. And the more aware you become, the harder it becomes for deception to fool you. Keep observing, keep learning, and never stop improving your thinking. See you in the next one.